Hi everyone and welcome to this video where we will be discussing a very famous fraud case from the early 1900s. The fraud case involved a company called McKesson and Robbins, and McKesson and Robbins was a big pharmaceutical wholesaler. So they were big drug wholesaler. In 1925, there was this guy, he was really a con artist. His name was Philip Musica, and he went by an alias F. Donald Coster. Coster, and he, with his brothers, they took control of this McKesson and Robbins drug wholesaler. And what they did is they set up a fake crude drug division within the McKesson and Robbins company, and they used a series of shell companies that they set up in Canada. So what exactly did they do? What did the brothers do here? Well, they created fake invoices, fake orders, and fake confirmations that artificially inflated a company's inventory. And they did it by, the size of this thing was about $10 million. And this also created about 9 to 19 million or so of receivables and phony assets. And if you put that in today's dollars, that's about $400 million today. And they actually stole $3 million in real cash through fake commissions. So they made fictitious sales that were supported by these fraudulent invoices, orders from customers, made up orders from customers, and then these confirmations that inflated the inventory. So this whole scheme lasted for over a decade. The auditors on this engagement, at the time, they were known as Price Waterhouse. Today, you would know them as Price Waterhouse Coopers. So over the years, these audit firms tend to merge. And so there was once a audit firm called Price Waterhouse. There was also a second audit firm called Coopers and Lybrand, and Price Waterhouse and Coopers and Lybrand merged. And so now they're known as Price Waterhouse Coopers. But at the time, it was Price Waterhouse auditors who were in charge of this McKesson and Robbins audit. So McKesson and Robbins, they, as I said, they created fake invoices, fake orders, fake confirmations. The problem that Price Waterhouse ran into, the auditor, was that they trusted the documentation that they got from management. So they trusted the documents without verifying inventory or receivables directly themselves. So the big problem here. You can't always trust your client. That's a huge issue. In 1938, treasurer at McKesson and Robbins, the name was Julian Thompson, uncovered the fake warehouses, which led to a probe from the Securities and Exchange Commission. So Musica's past emerged, and the jig was up. So Musica and his brothers were caught in stealing this cash through these fake Canadian subsidiaries, and Musica actually ended up dying by suicide. So kind of a pretty sad story, a pretty sad outcome here. But 20% of the balance sheet for McKesson and Robbins was completely made up as a result of this fraud. So what was the impact? Well, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, began requiring independent audit committees and shareholder audit approval. So that at the time, that was not required. So a company's board of directors did not have to have an audit committee. So after the scandal, a requirement went in place where a board of directors had to also have an audit committee, and the audit committee, along with the shareholders, had to approve the appointment of the external auditor. The American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA, began mandating inventory observation and direct confirmations. So when a company counts its inventory at the end of the year, this new standard required auditors to actually follow and watch and observe the counting of inventory, because inventory was the way that McKesson and Robbins perpetrated this fraud. So the standards now require auditors to observe inventory counts. So what's the lesson here? Well, the lesson is, if you're going into audit, is to be skeptical, verify things independently. Don't trust what your client's saying. Don't distrust it, but be professionally skeptical. Say that I'll take what you say, but I'm going to verify it on my own with independent sources. So really, the key to uncovering a fraud is to look carefully at the details of any case. So fraud always hides in the details, and strong audits always prevent it and detect it. So how can you take what was learned from this very old case, which resulted in updates to auditing standards? How can you take the lessons from this case and increase your professional skepticism when you work in audit? So think about that to yourself, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.